Awesome. Okay. So have your block and your strap handy. And I'm by a wall, but you can step towards the wall when we need it. And just come to stand on your mat. I'll stand back a little bit so you can see my feet. And have your feet about hip distance apart. Take your hands by your sides, and I just want you to close your eyes. And we're just going to come back to those very first sessions where we talked about Tadasana. We talked about standing with control, standing with intention, standing with mindfulness. So lifting the toes off the floor, pulling up the toes towards the sky, pulling up the shin, the kneecaps, the thighs, feeling the pubic bone slightly lift and the navel draw in. Feel the front of the chest lift and then melt the shoulder blades down. Palms of the hands face forwards. And then grow the skin of the back of the neck and slightly tuck the chin. And then keep this entire activation and just let the toes fall onto the mat. Now make sure you're not locking out the knee joints. This is going to be super duper important throughout your balancing, okay? Something that I do, so I'll remind you a lot. Just kind of feel into this. Notice where you naturally start to kind of dip or get lazy or tip. I am a real outer edge foot stander, so I need to actively remind myself to press my big toe down, keeping that activation. So just notice perhaps where you're pressing the most weight in the foot. And can you just smooth it out? Can you get that weight evenly distributed through the whole bottom of that foot? And I want you to really feel, okay, it might be a bit woo-woo, but I want you to feel as though your feet are growing roots into your mat, into the floor, into the earth. Okay, really for a moment, visualize this. This is going to help you feel grounded. It's going to help you feel strong. And it's really going to help you when we start to move through some of these balancing positions. And at the same time that you've got these really sturdy roots that are growing down but then out in all directions so that you're really stable, I want you to also grow through the crown of the head so that you feel this axial extension, this lengthening of the spine. Just feel really proud, really tall, like a mountain. This is what Tadasana translates to, mountain pose. So each of your feet has 33 bones, 33 joints rather. If you think about that, that's pretty bad. It's pretty crazy. We've got a lot happening in our feet. They can be extremely dexterous. They can be, extremely adaptable. And our balancing positions are not only strengthening our feet, but they're strengthening the entire body, including what's called proprioception. This is awareness of body. And when it comes to balance, we're going to be battling not only balance, obviously, but also fear. I'm not going to make you do anything too crazy, too scary today, but balance can often really cause almost like a butting against a wall, like you feel like you can't break through it. I want you to be okay with stumbling, okay with wobbling. We're all going to do lots of it today. And I want you to just take 10 nice deep breaths just to ground yourself, let go of whatever's been going on in your day, and just get yourself into the present moment. If you want to, you can take those Ujjayi breaths where you constrict the throat. So just take 10 breaths now. Good. And then just flutter the eyes open. I want you to ignore the screen, okay? I'm gonna do stuff that we've done already. I want you to choose something to look at. And where we look, this is called drishti, okay? Drishti means the gaze, is gonna help your balance so much. Balance is really 80% where you're looking, and then the rest is the physical body, okay? So if what's happening upstairs is kind of chaotic and all over the place, the rest of your body's gonna follow suit. Where if you can get the mind still and you can get the mind focused, you'll get the body focused. And this is what I love about balance so much, is that it is really a mental practice, okay? It is controlling the mind, controlling the emotions, and then stilling the rest of the physical body with it. And that's why I love balance. It really is a mental game, and I think that's why everybody can have success with it if they can control their mind. So just start to look at one thing and just start to rock the weight forwards and backwards in the feet. We're just warming up the feet right now, okay? No right or wrong. Try not to look at me. Just focus on one thing. I can see a moisturizer, so that's what I'm looking at. Just kind of pressing into the balls of the feet, the toes, and then working your way back into the heels. Good. Come back to center and then just rock yourself side to side. So you're working onto the knife edges of the feet. So the inside and outside edges of the feet. Again, ignoring me. Okay, I'm not doing anything too fancy at all. You're just working into the feet. Nice. Coming back to center and just pedaling out the feet. So coming onto the ball of one foot and then the other. Lifting the heels. Almost like you were doing a Stairmaster. And then step your left foot forwards, come on to the top of the right foot, bend the knees, just stretching into the top of that back foot. Just holding this for 3, 2, 1. Step the right foot forwards, take that left foot back onto the top of that foot, bending in the knees, opening into that foot for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Step that foot forwards, shake them out. Okay, so I don't know if you've done the recorded video yet. I do this exercise in that video, but it's one of my favorite things to start to warm up the body, to start to bring a little bit of that fear factor in, and to also train us with exactly why the gaze is so important. So you're gonna take your feet a little bit wider than hips distance. Watch me first, okay? I'm really not gonna make you do anything too scary. All you're gonna do is close your eyes. You're gonna track the weight into one leg, not locking out that knee joint, coming onto the toe of the other foot, hands out nice and wide. You're gonna use them like counterbalances. And then you're gonna see if you can lift your toe. Now, instead of opening the eyes if you get scared, just touch the toe back down. And this is a trust game. How much can you trust your body? Okay, you can have a wall nearby if you really don't trust your body, but you can lift your toe a hair off the mat. It doesn't have to be too far. So, feet a little bit wider than hips distance. Close the eyes, turn the palms to face forwards. Don't lock out the knees. And I want you to just feel your torso tracking through the center of your pelvis. Good, okay. From here, you're gonna take your torso and track it over your left leg. Okay, you're gonna feel that left leg like this pillar, this column that's holding you. And then slide your right toe out to the side. Just stay there for a moment. Okay, notice how the left leg feels. Squeeze the outer edge of the left butt cheek in. Okay, this is gonna stabilize the pelvis. And then see if you can lift that foot just a hair off the mat. Now remember, those arms can kind of move in space. Imagine that the air around you is molasses. And if you move slowly with your hands, you can kind of catch your balance. Now this is where you're gonna feel the calibrations of all those joints and bones in the foot. Moving and manipulating. This is one of the best things that you can do to strengthen your feet. Brushing your teeth, try brushing the teeth. Obviously not right now, but these kind of little exercises you can do when you're doing mundane tasks that you do every single day to strengthen the foot. Now, open your eyes, okay? Look at one thing. Don't look at me, I'm not even really doing it. Look at one thing and see how much easier this becomes. Suddenly you can be still, okay? This is what the drishti does. As soon as we focus, as soon as we look, the body follows suit. Now, close the eyes again. And see how you do. Good. And then take that foot down. Track the torso through the center of the pelvis. Close the eyes again. Good. So I saw a few of you peeking. See if you can keep them close. Let's take the weight over the right leg. So if you're right-handed, this side might feel easier. Come onto the big toe of that left foot. And then see if you can just lift it a hair off the mat. If you really lift that foot, you're just going to knock yourself off balance. So just slowly, almost like you're just sucking the femur bone, the leg bone, up into the hip socket. Good, just finding a sense of balance. Remember, your arms can move through that molasses. Feel that calibration that's happening in that standing foot. And for some of you, you might even get cramps in the leg. This is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Now open the eyes. Boom. Look at that exact same thing. Notice the instant calm. Okay. When you close the eyes, can you imagine that thing still behind the eyelids? And see how much longer you can hold it. You might even get a butt cramp. Okay, not uncommon to get an outer butt cramp here. Good. And then bring the foot down. Pedal out the feet. Hula hoops are really good to do. Okay, balance is a lot about the glutes. Okay, so I'm going to talk a lot about the glutes, and we're going to do a lot of glute work this week. You've got glute mid and min. They hang out on the outer edge of your hip. They're responsible for what's called abduction. Okay, like you're stealing something. So it's like something stealing your leg, whoop, and taking it away from you. Okay, that is the outer edge. Now glute max, which is the big bad boy on the back, he's responsible for taking your leg backwards. So as this muscle tightens, your leg travels backwards, and this is called extension. So they're really important for balance, and they're really important for stabilizing the pelvis. So just stand where you are right now. I want you to feel the outer butt cheeks squeezing in, and then squeeze the big butt cheeks and feel like, oh my God, like you're wearing a brace on your pelvis. Now, if you lift one leg, you're gonna wanna keep some of that engagement to lock everything in here nice and tight. So not uncommon, okay, during today's practice to get some butt cramps. So hula hoops, really good, because you're stretching out the hips, you're stretching out the butt, pedaling the feet, okay, anything that you need to do, just like a wiggle of the butt. Let go of any inhibitions because your butt's gonna feel it. Okay, so let's talk about tree pose. Okay, tree pose is a really, really common posture. It's one of like the quintessential poses, but it's often done quite sloppily. So I want you to just come onto I'll do it opposite. So come onto your left leg, okay, and onto the ball of the right foot. Again, make sure you're not locking out that knee joint, okay? Now, lazy, okay? So lazy, lazy, lazy. I'm just gonna do that so you can see my hips. This is what most people do. They come into tree, okay? If you can see the sort of side of my hip, my pelvis isn't stabilized, and I'm dropping through my right hip, okay? It's what people do all the time in tree. You might even be somebody who does this hitching of the hips when you stand. What this means is that these tiny glute muscles on the outside are not working. So with your right foot lifted, I want you to squeeze, boom, that side of the hip in, then release, boom, squeeze it in, okay? This action is what's gonna stabilize this leg. So just stand there and just see if you can lift your foot, okay? Not doing anything else, just see if you can lift your foot. Keep squeezing this butt cheek in. Try not to hitch it out. Nothing lazy like this. As you squeeze this butt cheek in, you'll also feel the right hip slightly lift. Don't worry if you get a cramp. You can literally punch out the butt or take those hula hoops. Good, bring the foot down, little pedal. And we're gonna try it on the other side. So now standing on the right leg, left leg lifts, and do that lazy hitch. Okay, it's something that I think women are more common at, sort of really like pushing out the butt, pushing out the hips, or maybe it's just more pronounced because we got a bit more vajang. So from here, now, and like, don't be scared, feel that muscle. This is gonna help with your proprioception. Boom, squeeze it in, and you'll feel this hip lift. Let it go, you'll feel this hip drop. Now push, boom, and you should feel like, oh, everything's a lot more stable. Good, squeeze those butt cheeks in, then lift this leg, and just see if you can stand there. Okay, again, don't lock out that standing knee. Feel that foot calibrating. Keep squeezing that butt cheek in. Good, bring the foot down, shake it out. Okay, mobile skiing is also something that's really good. So just doing some of these can really release tension in the butt. Alrighty, so this is what we want to be doing with the butt cheeks and the hips. Now, standing leg, we're still talking about the standing leg. What happens in tree pose is that your femur bone can actually move quite a lot in your hip. So, you can see how much movement I have. Now, when we come into tree, we take one knee out to the side. Now, if both of my hips are facing forwards, that's about as far out as my knee can go. Now, if I let my femur bone move, I can bring my knee really far. It looks like, oh yes, I've got really open hips, but it's a lie. My hips aren't working. All I'm doing is torquing my femur bone in my pelvis. So let's come back onto our, what am I doing? Let's come back onto our left leg, okay? Boom, squeeze that in. Come onto the ball of your right foot. Now I want you to start to torque this femur bone out, okay? And you're gonna have to squeeze the glutes. You're just torquing it out. It might not feel like it's moving. And then start to bring that right knee to the other side. You're really gonna feel this in the groin. Torquing this leg bone out to the left while you take the right knee out. Toes on the floor, you're not balancing here. Torque, okay? Like there's a walnut between your butt cheeks, squeeze that walnut, torquing one leg out, taking the other leg in the opposite direction. What is this doing? Well, one, it's going to stabilize your pelvis, and two, it's going to keep you from just rotating. So if you want to try it out, let go of the torque, and then just play around. Like, see how much rotation you have in your leg. You've got heaps, okay? You've got a lot of internal and external rotation. Try it on the other side. So coming on to the right leg now, ball of the left foot, squeeze the glutes. Now start to torque that right leg out as you take the left knee out. You should feel the butt cheek squeezing, and you should feel the stretch in the groin, okay? Some people can naturally get their leg out really far to the side. And this is later on in practice when people start working with taking the leg out and they're taking it out to the side. Again, they're just letting this leg bone torque. So let go of the torque and just play around. See how much movement you have. Okay, and you might not have that much depending on the mobility of your hip. You will have some movement. Okay, so foundations, this is the stuff we're working on. Now, if you want to, you can use a wall. We're gonna actually play around with now lifting the foot and coming into tree. So coming onto that left leg again, all those same foundations. If you wanna lift the toes, lift them, then press them down. Feel that lift, squeeze the butt cheek in, slight torque of that femur bone. Now, take the knee out to the side and just place the heel onto the side of your ankle, the side of your calf muscle. If you feel confident, hands to heart center. Make sure you're not dropping. Pull the glute in, torque the femur, take the knee out the other side. Now, don't look at me. I don't want you looking at me. I want you just listening. From here, look at that one thing. And see if you can just start to suction cup your toes onto the side of your foot. So you're not really lifting that foot any higher. You're just simply sliding those toes off the mat and suctioning in. Now, at the same time that you're suction cupping your foot into your leg, I want you to push your leg into your foot. Draw your navel in. Don't just let the belly go. Okay, draw the navel in. Lift through the sternum, slight tuck of the chin, elongate the back of the neck. All of those same cues that you would use in Tadasana. Now, if you feel okay, try lifting the hands up. I like to connect my thumb and my first finger. And then once I'm here, I turn my pinky finger up and my thumbs towards the back. And this opens up my shoulders, opens up my chest. If you're happy there, stay put. If you want to take it a little higher, lift your foot till it's in your calf muscle. Avoid the knee. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, you can always use the wall. Don't be scared to use the wall. Keep the butt activated. Keep squeezing that walnut. Your left leg bone torquing out to the left. Your right knee torquing out to the right. Good, okay, if the hands are lifted, bring them back. And then I want you to bring the knee forwards, and with as much control as you can, place that foot back down. Good, pedal it out. Alrighty, so our knee joint, okay? It bends like so. It does not bend this way, okay? We can't get our knee to go this way or this way. There's a subtle movement there, but not a lot. This is not what we want to develop in the knee. People come into tree, try to do it against the white wall so you can see, but there's like a little shelf where your knee and your thigh kind of meet. And people just love to hang out here. Once or twice, no big deal. But if you're doing every single yoga class, slamming your foot into your knee, pushing your knee a direction it doesn't want to go, it's just not nice kind of fundamentals of the body and anatomy. So when you come into tree, we're going to work foot calf muscle or toe on floor. You can start to develop the foot into the thigh. This requires a lot of hip mobility as well as hip flexor strength. Probably not going to be there yet. So below the knee. Alrighty, let's try it on the other side. So finding that control, finding that Tadasana, starting to take the weight into the right foot. Lift the toes, lift the thigh, get that activation happening. Come onto the ball of the left foot. Now, squeeze the butt cheeks and just turn the knee out to the side as you torque your right thigh out. Bring the toes in. Stay here, hands to heart center, or hold onto the wall. Don't lift the toes yet. Just find this engagement, navel slightly in. Then, maybe if you feel brave, just let those toes glide along the mat like little gecko fingers, suction cupping into the side of that leg. What's happened to the walnut between your butt cheeks? I hope it's not on the floor. Squeeze it. Good. Then if you feel confident, maybe the hands come up. First finger and thumb, maybe come together. Torque the pinky finger towards you, the thumb behind you. And then if you want to, you can lift that foot a little bit higher. Now, as you're lifting, you want to be pulling the foot into the leg at the same time pushing the leg into the foot. It's like this dual suction cup action. Don't look at me, I'm not even doing the pose properly. Focus. Can you keep your gaze locked on one thing for 5, 4, 3, 2, don't just fall out of it. I want you to bring your hands back down. You're going to bring that knee forwards and bring that foot down. Good. Pedal out the feet, wiggle the butt, whatever you need to do, okay? So that is your tree pose. We're going to work a lot on it. The video that is in the membership right now goes over tree quite a bit. So now I'm going to talk about the 2 different movements of the hips that are going to be required for Warrior 3 and for a pose called Half Moon. So come to face your wall. And then what I want you to do without dumping into the lower back is just lift your leg behind you. It doesn't matter which one. Now, what you don't want to do is like banana back. Okay, so keep the spine almost straight up and just start to do a couple of E. Okay, so this is extension. And we're keeping the leg pretty neutral in terms of we're not taking it out to the side. Once you've done maybe 5 on one side, switch to the other. They're like, you know, like a bicep curl. You're doing that with your glute right now. Okay, so this is extension. And this is what we want for a pose called Warrior 3. Good. Come back to the other side. Turn away from the wall now, so you're not facing the wall. And I want you to start to bring your leg out to the side. Okay, this is glute mid and glute min that are working. This is external rotation. Okay, taking that leg out to the side. Maybe do 5. You're gonna feel it in the butt. Told you, butt's gonna work a lot. Woo! And then turn, face the other side, and just do 5 more. Oh, good. Maybe a little punch out of the bum, wiggle in the hips. Take as much time as you need. Alrighty, so how do we then implement these into poses? Well, let's have a little look at Warrior 3. So I'll show you from the side. Warrior 3, we're going into that extension, and people often come forwards in this pose. So for us today, we're going to have hands at heart center. If you need a wall, you can use it. You're going to slide one foot behind you, and you're going to start to lift that leg, just like we were doing when we were holding onto the wall. And I want you to imagine yourself as a seesaw, okay, like a teeter-totter. And so the top of the head and the foot have to move in tandem. So as the foot slightly lifts, the head slightly dips, okay? Now in this pose, we never want the head to becoming lower than the foot. Okay, so essentially what we're aiming for, trying to get this in the mirror, right, is parallel. Now, if you noticed, as I lift my leg higher, my standing leg has to bend. Because as this leg lifts, my hamstring is getting stretched. Now, what I want you to avoid is lifting the hip. Okay, so if you are by a wall, notice that lifting the leg with the toes down is much harder than lifting the leg with the toes out. And where it's much harder is the standing leg hamstring. So this pose is great, it's a balancing pose, but it's the standing leg that's getting the stretch. So let's give it a go. Come to middle-ish of your mat, bring your hands to heart center, and I want you to take the weight into your left leg. Bend the knee a little bit. Don't be scared to bend the knee, and then slide the right toes behind you. Now look forwards and down, and just start to lift that back toe off the floor. Now once that back toe's off the mat, you're gonna flex the foot, which means that you're gonna kick into the heel and the toes are gonna dial down. So you're kicking into that heel, the toes are dialing down. You're not turning the toes out to the side, okay? So you're keeping the toe dialed down, and you're just tipping forwards. Doesn't matter how far you are. As beginners, okay, you're probably gonna be at about 45 degrees. Don't be scared to bend that standing leg. You're gonna need to. Don't worry, you can use the wall. I just needed it. And then bring the foot back down, shake it out, and you're just gonna go to the other side. Remember, we're just playing around with these poses today. I'm not making you hang into them for ages. So weight into the right leg, slide the left toe back. If you need to have the hands on the hips, you can do that as well. Look forwards and down, and just start to lift that toe. And as the toe lifts, slowly start to tip forward. It's not massive. Kick into that heel. As you lift that leg, your standing leg is probably gonna need to bend. Focus. Doesn't matter how far forwards you're coming. Yes, one day we might get to a T position, but we might not. Doesn't matter. Okay, you might be barely off the floor. Nice, and then place that foot back down, take a little sway from side to side. And this, if you're really nervous in balance, I want you to watch. But if you feel okay in that pose, this is another really nice way to come into Warrior Three. So you're gonna grab your strap, and like a little skipping rope, you're gonna take it behind you. It's kind of a bit fiddly to come into, but it's really nice if you can get it. And if you feel like if in this you needed the wall, I would just watch. So from here, standing on your left leg, you're gonna step the ball of your right foot on that strap. And then tighten the strap so that the strap is taut and your arms are straight. Now look forwards and down, kick into that strap, and just start to lift the foot. And what you're gonna notice is that the shoulders are gonna squeeze together, and you're gonna feel nice and long. You might not be able to come very high. If you feel too nervous, too wobbly, then keep a hand on the wall and don't use the strap. But what I love about using the strap is that this, if you have the strap tight enough, you can get this real opening in the chest. And again, it doesn't have to be very high off the floor at all. Remember, it's sensation over destination. So for me right now, I'm barely off the floor, but I'm getting a lovely stretch in my back. Yes, maybe one day I'll be able to tip down, okay? But that's fine, like wherever your starting point is. And then bring the right foot back down. Just switch, stepping the left foot into that strap. Nice tight strap. Tilt forwards, remember your seesaw. And then slowly, if you feel confident, lift that leg. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to roll the shoulders together behind you. This is that retraction of the shoulders to open up the chest. Just play around with it. And what I can see on some of your faces is a real like, ooh, I'm falling, I'm not good at this. Like balance, as a yoga teacher, it's like, come on guys, you can do this. Like don't feel demeaned by it. This might be the first time you've done any of these poses. Good, okay, get rid of your strap. We're now going to use our block, okay? Now this is one of my favorite balancing poses, but it can be a little bit intimidating. This is one where you're going to use this abduction, so bringing the leg away. thinking that that leg is being stolen. We're using those glute muscles. Now, if this is too difficult, holding onto the block, you're just going to use the wall. I'll show you both options. So block on the floor, about a foot's distance in front of your, let's say, left leg to start. Now, you can start with your hand on the block, and then your other hand is going to come onto your hip. Don't look straight down, look forwards and down, and then you're just going to see if you can start to lift your back foot. Now, from here, you're going to start to squeeze those butt muscles, stacking this top hip on top of the bottom. Now, you can see my standing leg is shaking, my standing leg is bent. I'm turning and opening up my chest here. And then maybe my top hand comes up. Now, how do I do this if I can't get my hand onto the block? Well, number one, if you can get your hand on the block at all, just stay here and work on balancing like so. If the block is too difficult to get to, use the wall and come into this position where you're opening up that leg. Okay, so left leg about a foot's distance in front of your block. Bring your left hand onto the block and then bring your right hand onto your hip. Good. Now don't look at me, just listen. Look down and slightly forwards. Take the weight into your left leg. You want your left shoulder directly on top of the block. So if the block is too far forwards or too far back, like a plumb line, it's dropping down from that top shoulder. Now, if you can, lift that right foot off the floor and then turn the toes out to the side so that the knife edge, the outer edge of the foot, is going straight up to the sky. This is a mega butt workout. It's super, super good. You're squeezing that imaginary walnut again. If you can, turn the chest up or to the side wall. And if you can, that top hand reaches high. This is one that requires quite a lot of different things happening in the body. But it doesn't matter where you get to. Okay? You might be here. You might be here. You're just starting to find some balance and you're working on that hip. Good, nice. And everybody's also learning how to fall. I can see everybody kind of stumbling, which is really good. Let's try the other side. So, right foot about a foot and a half distance maybe behind the block. Bring the right hand down. Left hand on the hip. Come onto the big toes of that left foot. Kick into the foot. So as soon as the foot lifts, you're kicking into it. You're activating it. Then start to lift using the butt cheeks. Maybe the hand lifts. Good, good. I don't like, as you guys stumble, you're learning. You're finding quite literally those tipping points. Breathing, engaging those glutes. Good. We're a lot better on this side, us right-handed folks. Good, guys. Bring yourself back down. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. All righty. One pose left. It is, for many, one that people rush into. It's called dancer's pose. It is a deep hip flexor opener as well as a slight back bend. There are many stages to this pose, and we're going to start with simply a quad opener. You might need your strap here. You may not. Okay, so step one, turn to your wall, okay? And you're going to left hand on the wall. Then from here, you're going to take the weight into the left foot, bend your right knee, and if you can, reach for your foot. Can't reach your foot, you're going to take a little loop with your strap. Boop, and put your foot into the strap. Now, if you can see, my front knee is really far forwards. So what I'm going to try to do is bring my right knee in line with my left. Then I'm going to see if I can squeeze my foot closer to my bum, keeping my knee in line, and then start to lift the front of your pubic bone. And you should start to feel that stretch. Good. This is step one. Okay. Now, step two is from here, Instead of grabbing onto the outside edge of the foot, you're going to switch your grip and hold onto the inside like a hook, okay? Now, if you can't grab your foot, you're staying with the strap. Just stay with the strap. Then from here, you're going to start to bring the knee behind you. And you're going to notice that you're going to start to take a bigger back bend, and you're going to get a deeper stretch. What we want to avoid here is taking a dog wee out to the side. So we want the knee pointed down, and we're bringing the knee straight back. For a lot of us, this is going to be tough. So it might be a very subtle movement. Then from here, if you're feeling brave, you can slide your hand forwards or step further away from the wall and maybe bring that hand off the wall. Okay, I'll show you from the side. So dancer's pose, that knee is coming straight back, and I'm perhaps starting to lean forwards. I'm opening up the front line of my body. Just play around with it. This one's a really nice one to do with a wall, because what you're doing is you're getting the stretch. Remember, don't have that standing leg, knee locked. And once you know what you're doing, stop looking at me. Okay, you will fall if you keep looking at me. Nice, good. And then come out of it. So if you're finding this challenging, you are simply working, okay, on one, maybe grabbing the foot, two, finding that balance. This time I'm going to demo it with a strap the whole time. So grab the wall with your right hand now, right foot on the floor, grabbing onto that left foot or hooking into that strap. Nice. Now from here, you don't want your knee forward, so you're going to line up your left knee with your right knee, and then you're going to start to pull the heel towards the butt. Now as you do this, I want you to lift your pubic bone. And this is going to stretch the hip flexor. Just stay here. Don't look at me. Look at something on the wall. Maybe play around with just bringing yourself onto the fingertips of the wall, maybe lifting the hand away from the wall. Now, if you have the foot, I want you to switch the grip so your fingers are pointed to the outside edge of your foot and your palm is holding the big toe. Then from here, maybe start to bring that leg back. Now, if you have a strap, you can do this. You can start to bring that leg back. Don't let the knee go out to the side, no dog weeing. Okay, knee is in line. And those who feel brave, seeing if you can bring your right hand away from the wall. Okay, even if you're not open very much, even if you're like this, come onto the fingertips and just see what happens. Okay, you've got the wall there in case you feel like you're gonna fall. Good. And then slowly come back. I would really be surprised if any of you were not getting butt cramps, because I definitely feel it. Shaking it out. Come back to Tadasana. So bringing those feet to about hips distance. Lift the toes. Lift the shins, the knees, the thighs, the pubic bone. Draw the belly in. Lift the sternum, slight tuck of the chin, elongate the skin of the neck, squeeze the shoulders together, slide the shoulders down. Press the toes back into the floor. Close the eyes if they're not closed already. And just take 5 deep breaths. And I want you, as you inhale, to take in gratitude for your body, gratitude for every little stumble and fall that you made, your body counteracting what was happening. And every time you exhale, just letting go of any negative self-talk, any chatter that was saying, oh, I can't do this. Oh, what's Megan making me do? Oh, I have no balance. Oh, I can't grab my foot. Inhaling, gratitude. Exhaling, negativity. On your next inhale, bring the arms high above the head, palms come to touch. As you exhale, bring the thumbs to the space between the brow for kindness in your thoughts. to the lips for kindness in your words, and then to your heart center, you all to carry kindness, compassion, and action through the rest of your evening and the rest of week 4 ahead. Opening the eyes, guys. Well done. Namaste. Well done, guys. How was that? How did we do? Everybody was stumbling and wobbling, which is great. Like I could see you all kind of stumbling and coming back into it. Let me know how it was.